This is posted at the Goober Mutts blog. I'm not familiar with this particular. I don't know if it's an existing RPG or something new. This is on Goobernuts blog. Manga Ya, 20 debt holders for character backgrounds. Electric Bastion Land is a big inspiration for the Manga Ya update I'm working on. Since I'm making debt a thing in Manga Ya, I thought I might as well lean more into Electric Bastion Land by making Bin Manwas start as debtor slaves. It makes me want to check out this RPG. This is an attempt to write 20 debt holders that the player's party will have to pay back, along with something to make their campaign start interesting. So it's a D20 of backgrounds. And okay, so the first one is, let's see, Babylon, a healer who uses herbal science and spiritual intervention. Take a crocodile tooth. You are indebted to an intervening ancient tree. Take shared ownership of a forest seed. When buried, the seed grows into a grove of trees in a day. That's cool. I'm not sure what it means, though. I get that. Okay, so you're indebted to an intervening ancient tree. Okay, well, I don't know what intervene. I guess I don't know. I'm not sure how the ancient tree intervenes, if that's supposed to be obvious. Maybe it would be if I knew more about the setting in the RPG, but I don't. And then take shared ownership of a forest seed, which is bulky, so I guess it just takes up inventory slots, and then it'll grow into a grove of trees when buried. So does that mean, are you out of debt? Have you fulfilled your debt obligation when you bury the seed? I'm not sure. Next one is a caracal, a merchant connecting communities with trade. Take a pouch of fake jewels. You're indebted to a distant merchant prince. Take ownership of a pendant with the prince's insignia. It grants you passage on one of his merchant ships. Granted, you'll work while you're aboard. Okay, so this one seems like, okay, so this one makes more sense to me. You're indebted to a merchant prince. So it's not saying how you fulfill your debt, which I feel like I would want to know about these debt holders. A little bit about, well, what does it mean to be indebted to them? The ancient tree seems interesting, but also complicated. Like, what does it mean to be in debt to an ancient tree? Maybe I need to know more about what it is, and then how do you fulfill that debt? I'm guessing that there are two sort of bonuses here. The crocodile tooth, I'm not sure if that is something useful or if it's just kind of a random bit or bob to have in your pocket. And then you get this forest seed, which you can then plant somewhere and create a grove. I don't know what that forest seed does for you other than create a grove of trees, which might be nice, but I don't know if that actually helps you in some way. Now, the merchant prince is more obvious. Okay, you're indebted to a distant merchant prince. At least I can understand what that debt might be, though I still wouldn't mind if they told me how much it is or something. And then you get a pendant with the merchant prince's insignia. They can grant you passage on one of his ships. So this is obviously an actual, practical, useful thing you want to get for some of the other. Oh, I've got this insignia. Granted, I'll have to work, but I can go there and get passage, which is kind of a cool thing. Maybe be a one-time. I don't know if you have it be a one-time only thing or you have it. The thing that's interesting with this one is I would say you can use it all you want, but then your debt grows. Like, word's going to get back to the merchant prince that you got passage here, passage there. So you're kind of going to keep invoking the merchant prince for various things. You're going to fall more and more into debt. And of course, what happens when you might be in such a debt? Ian says, as a millennial, playing a character racked with debt is totally escapist fantasy I'm looking for. Well, that's true too. Though maybe in these games you can go and you can destroy the merchant prince, and therefore that's your fantasy, that you get to take down the debt holders. Nosarian says that can be used as background stuff for those newer players who are accustomed to being given a background roster for 5th edition. Yeah, totally. And a lot of games, I think, have backgrounds in them. And I think they're useful, even if you're not coming from 5e. I like them. I think that, especially definitely for newer players, but even I would say, like, I don't know, I'm not a newer player, but I appreciate it because they give me a way to be grounded in a game. It's really hard, or I think it's hard anyway, when you're just kind of dropped in a game. It's a setting you don't know. There's nothing, and it's kind of and that you basically you're just a guy, right? And I don't even know where I'm from or what's going on. I'm just kind of here, and I have to. There's always that first session or several sessions where you're trying to piece out, okay, who am I and where are we? But you give me a background, And I like this element of it, but I'd probably want a little bit more with some just, more information. But okay, now I have some things. All right, merchant prince. I got something going on with this merchant prince, and I got something that I can talk to the rest of the party about and say, hey, I got this thing, right? Okay, but I gotta pay back this merchant prince. That gives me a goal. I gotta pay back this merchant prince. So that's something. And then give me some other factors. And then I can hit the ground running a little bit faster. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's kind of taken for granted sometimes in your OSR, NSR games. People are just gonna hit the ground running. But I can tell you that even playing with a bunch of folks who are accustomed to playing that way, it's not always the case. I mean, back at ShireCon when I was playing in Daniel from Bandits Keep's game, there was this first part of his session where there's probably a good 20 minutes where people didn't really know what to do because he'd kind of left it. He'd kind of started off with sort of open with some kind of obvious things, but still there was kind of open, and people just kind of were just like wandering around because we weren't given a specific mission off the bat. We weren't given a task. It was kind of left for us to do a little bit of discovery, and people kind of bobbled about for a bit. So I think backgrounds or anything else that can kind of help you, especially when you're not playing a one shot where there's no time pressure, you're playing in a kind of a campaign situation. Anything that can kind of help give you a little nudge in some kind of direction, I think is a positive thing. Ian says, got to get the Eat the Rich RPG. Yeah, probably. Perkins says, I provide a few PDF for session 0, written about 12 2-page docs, a bit too much, in fact, but these PDFs answer a lot of campaign questions. Those are good. But yeah, I mean, then the key thing is, right, getting it to a point where players will read it. And that's another where backgrounds and those things can help, because you can roll randomly. So there's no analysis paralysis about picking a background. You're just going to roll randomly, and then that background, you could feed into it some bits of your lore and world building that pertain to that background, so that they get kind of a little paragraph snippet as opposed to reading through a whole book sort of thing for the tidbits that apply to them. All right, I'm just going to read a couple more of these, but these are cool. Malatiktik, an infiltrator using stealth and cunning to extract information for sabotage. Take a bird caller. You are indebted to a paranoid warlord. Information about his rival's plans against him will pay back 2 debt. All right, so they are keeping some numerical value of debt. And I don't remember debt from what's going on in Electric Bastion Lands. That probably would help also. He will go to war over the smallest evidence supporting his suspicions. So this one's interesting because it gives you a little bit different thing here. You get a bird caller, which I'm guessing is maybe a little device that makes you sound like a bird. So you could do like a mockingjay kind of, look up here. And then someone else could have one that you could communicate. I'm guessing maybe. Or if you were going to call out a warning to the rest of your party, and you could get, look up here. That would go out. Great. So here we get a good, I can picture a paranoid warlord. And here I get what I need to pay them off, which is something you don't get with the ones you looked at. Here, I don't know how much debt I have with them. Whatever that number is, if I can get this information, I know what I got to get. So this one tells me I know what I want to get. And then it gives me a little added information, which is either going to make me feel weird giving him. I don't know if this is helpful to a party. He will go to war over the smallest evidence supporting his suspicions, which makes me feel like, is this bad? I don't know if I like that. It's good character, but it almost makes me second guess the fact that I want to either be in debt in the first place, this person, though I might not have a choice because I rolled randomly. But then do I want to give him this information? Maybe that's what you want, right? A little bit of a risk reward. Like, okay, if you give them this stuff, you'll be out of debt. However, you know it's going to cause a war. So do you want to do it? But it's definitely higher stakes than a couple of the other ones. I didn't look at this one above. The Mag Sasaka is a farmer of forest Swidens. I don't know what that is. And irrigated plains. Take a bamboo noisemaker. You are indebted to a grumpy earth dweller. Maybe that's like an elemental. Becoming a test subject for a curse will pay back 2 debt. So here we have a little bit more of, I'm not sure what an earth dweller is, but probably some kind of spirit, elemental, something like that. And then parameters for becoming a test subject to a curse. Probably good. So it's interesting. I think I'd want to standardize these a little bit more. Like with everyone, give me something I get for this, something, how I pay off the debt, and then, whatever. So I'd like those 3 things. And it's weird that, maybe it's just because it's a work in progress, because it's just a blog post. We get some of it with some of them, some with the other one, but that would be my note to the author that they'll never see would be, I like these a lot, but I just like them to be kind of complete. And the complete part would be having those elements, because that is what a player I need to know. Who am I indebted to? Like, you know, what do they want from me? And then is there some kind of benefit? It's interesting. The Merchant Prince gives you a benefit. The Earth Dweller doesn't give you a benefit. The Warlord doesn't give you a benefit, and also makes it feel like it's kind of worse than that. So kind of cool. No, Sorian says makes it feel like it's OP, but against the player. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, how long does the curse last? Yeah, these should be somewhat equivalent, right? Becoming a test subject for a curse, and then information about rivals' plans. I guess they're just sort of different. Yeah, some more information would be good. But I really like the flavor. The flavor is excellent. The mechanics maybe could use a little bit of refinement, but it's just a blog post, so you know, no big a deal there. It can be worked on.